again, thank all of the students from around the world who are watching, who are willing to awaken to the deeper meaning of your lives. Last week, one of the things that Eckhart said that really struck me, you said that the opposite of death is not life. The opposite of death is birth. Life has no opposite. So I think that's a good place to begin our moment of silence. Can we go into silence? Life has no opposite.
Life has no opposite, and perhaps as we go into the silence, to feel yourself to be life rather than a person. A person is here only for a few years, but you are basically life experiencing itself temporarily as this person.
As this person, this personality, this
yes.
ego.
But underlying it, you are life that is eternal. And so when you go into stillness, it's easy to sense that underneath the personality, there is an aliveness, there is a presence, there is a consciousness that is timeless. And that's the life beyond the form of life that you are. So,
and that's why it has no opposite.
That's right.
Because it's forever.
Yes. And all the opposites only exist in the world of form.
In the world of form. I get that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as we go into the silence, into the stillness, let's see if we can just feel that in the background you are life. Or rather to say, I am life.
I am life.
Eternal, timeless. So we go into the stillness now and get in touch with that eternal life.
How wonderful. How wonderful to be able to get into touch with that. That's the inner space that you're talking about in chapter 8.
Yes.
Which is all about the discovery of inner space. That's what we're discussing tonight. Let's start with an overview of what this chapter is about. What is inner space? What you just described?
I realize that most people's mind is full of stuff, full of one thought after another, full of continuously arising thoughts, emotions, and the external life is full of things that need doing, one thing after another, one thing after another. So I observed that in many people's lives there seems to be no space. There's only one thing after another, one thought after another, one thing to do after another, one thing to be worried about after another. So that I noticed this absence of space in human beings. And really, that inner space or spaciousness is what we could also call the stillness. But I use different terms because any one term limits it. When we talk about stillness, yes, it is stillness, but it's much vaster than just stillness.
Right. And vaster than being still.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it's realizing that within you, there's not only objects in your consciousness that continuously arise in your consciousness as sense perceptions. You experience things, sense perceptions arise continuously, and each sense perception becomes an object in your consciousness. And then thoughts arise continuously, and every thought becomes also an object that arises in your consciousness. I call that object consciousness. And that is what most people know, and they also know them themselves as an object in their consciousness. They have an image of who they are. They have certain opinions about who they are. And so you become an object to yourself, and that is the ego. So a mental object. You make yourself into a mental object, and then you have a relationship with yourself as a mental object. It's a little bit insane, but it's normal. The incredible realization, and this is where the spiritual dimension starts, there is no spiritual dimension in object consciousness.
Object consciousness needs to be balanced by space consciousness for sanity to return to our planet and for humanity to fulfill its destiny. The arising of space consciousness is the next stage in the evolution of humanity. Space consciousness means that in addition to being conscious of things, which always comes down to sense perceptions, thoughts, and emotions, there is an undercurrent of awareness. Awareness implies that you are not only conscious of things, but you're also conscious of being conscious.
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes. To be conscious of being conscious, for example, you can do it by looking at something, just if people who haven't had a taste of this yet.
Yes.
For example, you look at a flower and you're conscious of the image, what you see, the sense perception. Now the question is, can you also be conscious of yourself as the perceiving presence without That means in the background of your life, there is suddenly a vast but intensely alive peace. Because being conscious of being conscious is very peaceful.